In this video, we are going to look at writing equations for quadratics. So you already know the three different types of quadratic equations. We have y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. There's your vertex form. We have standard form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And then last we had that intercept form, y equals a times the quantity x minus p times the quantity x minus q. So depending upon what information we have, or what equation we have, we could pull out all of our information. Now we have to go vice versa. Based on a graph or based on information, we need to be able to now write an equation. So the two forms that we are going to look at the most are vertex form and standard form. So we're going to look at vertex form and standard form. The third one, intercept form, is quite helpful as well. It's very similar to the vertex form, but I will tell you very rarely are you actually going to be able to find your x-intercepts, or they'll give those to you. So the other two forms are probably the most consistent. So we'll work through the first two so you can see how those work. And again, the third one follows directly from vertex form. I'm going to start with the middle one. I'm going to start with standard form. And if you think about standard form is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. When I write its equation, I have to find those unknowns, a, b, and c. There's three unknowns. Now think back to when we solved equations, just solving equations. I had two equations with two unknowns. I had a system of three equations with three unknowns. We were trying to figure out where do those all intersect. Well, the same type of process is happening here. Now what I'm trying to figure out, though, is the a, b, and c. Three unknowns, so I'm going to have three equations, which means I need 3 points. So here I've straightforward given you those points. Maybe I'll give you one and you have to find another one based on some symmetry pieces. But you're going to have 3 points to write your equation. So I know this is an x value and this is a y value. X, y, y. So I can put those into my equation. So I'm going to start with my very first equation. 18 is my y. So 18 equals a times negative 3x squared. I'm plugging in what I know. I know x and y values. I don't know a, b's, and c's. Plus b times negative 3 plus c. Now I'm going to do the next one. Negative 9 equals a times 6 squared plus b times 6 plus c. And lastly, negative 57 is the y, and that equals a times 12 squared plus b times 12 plus c. So I have my system of equations. Now, I still have to do a little bit of math with it. I'm going to reorder them a little bit. But over here, this is just 18 equals 9a plus a negative 3b plus c. And then negative 9 equals 36a plus 6b plus c. And then lastly, negative 57 equals 144a plus 12b plus c. Please note, there are no exponents on a, b, and c. A, b, and c are just those coefficient numbers. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange them so that the y values, the equals 18 part, is on the other side. So now I have to find a, b, and c. Does this look familiar at all? Have you seen this before? Yeah, we've done it before. We have to find the three variables, a, b, and c. The form it used to be in is those three variables were x, y, and z. We were finding where three lines in space intersected. Now we're just finding the coefficients. So I'm going to have to set up matrices. Now our calculator is going to do all the hard work for us. Write in your coefficients. Remember, the coefficient of c is 1 because there's no number in front of it, so that's 1. So that's my A matrix. And that's multiplied by my unknown matrix, which is ABC. And that equals my answer matrix, which is 18, negative 9, and negative 57. So now I have to go back to what we talked about with solving with inverses. Needing to get rid of the A matrix on the left-hand side because I can't divide matrices. So I have to take the inverse of it. So this is right now A times that X matrix equals B. So I have to get rid of my A matrix. So I perform the inverse of it. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. So in my calculator, I'm going to have to type in the inverse of A and then multiply it by B. So take a moment, enter matrix A and B into your calculator. So I have the information put into my calculator. So as it says, I have to find X, I have to take the inverse of A and multiply it by B. That's going to give me my X matrix, which is the A, B, and C. So inverse of A, second, inverse key matrix, enter, bring up your A matrix. I need the inverse of that. Then I have to multiply it by matrix B. Second inverse, arrow down to B, hit enter, and enter one more time. Gives you negative 1/3, negative 2, and 15. So X is negative 1/3, negative 2, and 15. So I know my A value, I know my B value, and I know my C value. I therefore have my coefficients. My equation, y equals negative 1/3 x squared plus negative 2x plus 15. That is the quadratic equation through those 3 points. You will be doing this for most of your story problems, unless they're area models. All of your story problems, if you're given 3 points, set up your system of equations, use your calculator to find the inverse, and you'll have it. Okay, the second example I want you to look at is when I give you a vertex and a point. Now I'm only giving you 2 points. Now I do want to let you realize that you could find the symmetric point, find 3 points, and then use standard form. But the problem with standard form is you have to rely on your calculator for that. If I give you a vertex and a point, you don't always have to use your calculator either. So you can just find an equation through those 2 points. Because vertex form, remember, is y equals sum A times the quantity x minus h squared, h part of your vertex, plus k. So h and k are the vertex, and then I have to find A. So right away from the very beginning, I can plug in my information. Y equals sum A. We'll have to find that. Times x minus the h value, which is 3, plus squared, plus your k value, which is negative 1. Or you can say minus 1 is fine as well. So I just have to find my A value. I'm almost done writing my equation because I have a vertex. So now I have to figure out what A is. Well, I have some x and y value. So here's where x goes, here's where y goes. And it's going to give me my A as a result. So I'm just going to strictly plug everything in. So instead of y is negative 6 equals A times the quantity 6 minus 3, quantity squared, plus negative 1. So just do the algebra behind it. So 6 minus 3 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Add 1. So therefore A equals negative 5/9. I now have my A. I have my blue equation up here. So my equation is y equals negative 5/9 times the quantity x minus 3 squared plus negative 1, or minus 1 again, your choice. So please keep in mind that when you're doing these, our goal is to write the equation of a quadratic. Which way you get there is your choice. If you have your vertex, I would definitely be using vertex form. You don't have to, though, if you have a calculator. And then the other way, if I have 3 points, you're going to have to use your calculator to come up with them. This is just the basis for what we're going to work on with story problems. Your next section, you're going to start doing the actual story problems themselves. You'll be looking at finding max heights. You'll be finding how long did it take for this to land. Anything that's quadratic in nature, once you find your equation, you'll then be able to solve for the individual x and y's now that you have this process.